Making Moves in the Marketplace is a program dedicated to providing a forum for elite social entrepreneurs doing significant acts of good for our world by impacting their own sphere of influence. These unique individuals are following their calling and encouraging success, and not just for themselves. Listen to these interviews and be inspired, as well as obtain contact information so you can get firsthand advice. So let's meet our guests on Making Moves in the Marketplace.
And on behalf of Making Moves in the Marketplace, this is Ed Bracey, your host. And today my special guest is Leah Hanrion. Leah, how are you today?
I am doing fantastic. How are you, Ed?
Super, super. Well, I don't dilly-dally. I get right into it. So let's start with the first question, okay? And that question is, Leah, who are you and what do you do?
I will condense it. I won't take 3 hours and tell you everything, but a little bit about me. I grew up in a large family. I'm the youngest of 6. So part of my drive probably comes from being the youngest and always trying to keep up with everyone else and always wanting to be older and do more. But I've lived all over. Right now in Charlotte, North Carolina, but I'm not from this area. I was born in Oregon and counted up how many times I've moved, and I believe it is 18.
Wow.
You know, moving all the time growing up, you learn to adapt quickly. I'll just say that.
So how did you land in Charlotte, North Carolina?
I moved here 5 years ago from Illinois.
Okay.
I do have some family here. My family's spread out, but parents and 2 siblings are here. So it was just a start over. For anyone that's been to Illinois, there's not much there besides Chicago. So transitioning from all the relocating growing up, and which I know that serves me now as far as meeting new people, adapting quickly. But as far as career goes, had multiple transitions. I think we could all say our life, whether it be personal or career, has not always gone as we planned when we were little.
True.
So for me, that resulted in what I'm doing now. But in Illinois, I was big into fitness. I was an event coordinator. The whole wedding scene was my area of expertise. Moving here, I continued in fitness, did all the competitions. And after a couple of years, a few life changes that all happened at once, it catapulted me, I guess you'd say, into the industry that I'm in right now.
And what industry is that?
Financial industry, more specifically, working with people to help them make the most of the dollars that are coming into their pocket in 2 senses, helping them keep more of their money and then helping them make their money work harder for them. So that's putting it very simply, but I believe that people are interested in seeing what you can do for them. They're not interested in complicated terms, or it can be a confusing and somewhat intimidating industry, and my goal is to simplify things for people and show them on an applicable level how I can help them.
Okay. You've hit a few high notes with me in what you just said. I've interviewed 2 other entrepreneurial women who come from the fitness industry. I want to ask you a couple questions with regards to that. Do you find that your experiences there have made you more of a competitor within yourself, say being able to reach higher for goals as opposed to just a normal person, having to focus on getting yourself at a certain level? Has that intensity taken your business life to a higher level? Does that make sense?
Yes, I would say that there is a great comparison between the fitness industry and the different goals that people set for themselves physically. You can apply that to business. For me, it is, I have this continual drive and it's fueled by a few different reasons. But to me, once I accomplish something, there's no settling there. It's continuing to set higher goals, reach more people, always do more, always push the bar. Once I think that, gosh, I don't know how I'm going to accomplish this, I set it higher than that. So in fitness, it's all about your mind over matter. You see those quotes in the gym all the time.
Right.
It really is a mindset. You apply it to physical strength, growing in your business. So I would say I've taken some of the self-discipline that I used in the fitness realm to my business in terms of growth and different tactics to accomplish goals.
Super. The reason I ask you that question is the head of our West Coast Synergy of Empowered Women Development was a competitive fitness person and has medals that she's won overseas and the whole deal. So I didn't know that about you. So that's very interesting. I'm going to ask you a question that I don't normally ask, but you're involved in the financial area. There's so many different areas. What is your typical day like?
Typical day. Very full. Starts very early in the morning. One thing that's very simple, that I start off every day with thinking of 10 things that I am grateful for. I am a huge advocate for being grateful at all times. You know, it's easy for us to, in our goal setting, feel like, gosh, I'm not at that point. You know, I don't have what I want yet. I'm not where I want to be. But for me, it helps to just step back and say, you know, what have I already achieved? What do I have in my life that's a blessing? So that is the first thing I start off the day with. From there, it is doing a lot of emailing, getting into my office around 8 or 8:30, multiple client meetings, whether that be an initial meeting to talk about them, their goals, and what they'd like to accomplish, or a follow-up meeting to present solutions that are specific to their scenario. Or honestly, I have meetings all the time just touching base with current clients. You know, things in people's lives change all of the time. But it's important that, you know, I stay up to date, and if we need to make adjustments or changes to their planning based on what's happened, that's a key component of a successful plan. You know, having coffee with other amazing professionals. I meet with a lot of different CPAs, attorneys. Their areas of business intersect with mine, and I need good people that I can send my clients to. So multiple meetings throughout the day, phone calls, emails. It wraps up typically about 8, 9 o'clock at night. So that would be a typical day for me.
Okay. From what I'm hearing, there's a lot of interpersonal skills involved in what you do, correct?
Yes, relationship building is very important to me. That relationship that I have with each client, it's not transactional whatsoever. I feel like I cannot fully serve them if I don't know more about them, what's truly important to them, and know them as a person.
I sense a lot of interpersonal engagement and that type of thing. Let me ask you, what has been your greatest victory in that area since you've been in the financial world? Say, for instance, without mentioning names or anything like that, a client that, say, for instance, you engaged initially and maybe things weren't going in a direction that you might have hoped, and then you had an opportunity to turn their thinking around.
Multiple people, I would say that was the case, simply because we talk finances, money. It is such a personal topic, and someone has to really become vulnerable when they're talking to you. So I would say in a few different scenarios that I can think of, initially there was, I guess it was more of a challenge to really draw out just information, what was important to that person. But over time, people sense how genuine you are. That starts to bring their walls down. And I also think it's common for people to just want to stick to what they're familiar with when it comes to planning. So to add in a more creative approach to it is somewhat foreign to people. So they have to be open-minded. And I think that open-mindedness is established when you've built that relationship with them, where there's a level of trust. So for a few different clients, it definitely was more of a challenge to, I guess, get them to open up. And through the relationship building, they were able to see that, one, she does have my best interest in mind, and I'm open to these things that she's suggesting or educating me about, although they're very foreign and different. I've never seen conflicts like this before. And then seeing the result of implementing, seeing that this really was the best thing for them, and what transpired between initial meeting and them being totally closed off, almost cold, I guess you could say, to opening up, seeing that this creative approach is really something that they needed and were missing in their planning, and seeing how successful it really was for them.
Mm-hmm. Getting to that point where a person can expose themselves and trust in you is vital to what you do, I'm sure, correct?
100%.
Okay. What would you say is your, I hate to use this term, but I guess I'll go ahead and use it, your secret sauce to connecting with people? What do you present that makes them know that you're competent and, caring and that type of thing?
To be honest with you, people need to see that, one, you're an expert at what you're talking about. So continual education is very important. People need to feel secure that, okay, my planning, my money, she knows what she's doing. But as far as the relationship building, I become vulnerable too. I'm asking them these questions that are sensitive things related to them and their finances, their goals. So I feel like I need to show some level of vulnerability, and whether that's opening up about different things that have happened in my life that I know that they would relate on. I think that shows them that, okay, this isn't just a robot financial person that's throwing out terms and just telling me what to do. She's a real person. She's been through hard things in life too, and she's been able to rebuild. So I think when people see that I'm going to be just as vulnerable as I'm asking you to be, that definitely gives credibility. More trust is built much more quickly.
Super. That's great. So knowing that you have to establish that trust, and based on that trust, the relationship develops more and more. I know people who would just say, oh my God, I can't do this. Why do you do what you do?
Why do I do what I do? Few different reasons. One would be a couple of major life events that happened for me a few years ago. One of them would be getting a divorce after being married for 7 years and realizing that I was the person who said, oh, my husband takes care of that. So it was somewhat of a smack in the face to find yourself divorced with you, except for the debt that was put in your name, and how do you rebuild from that? So that, and wanting to educate everyone, but for me, women in general, women are so busy. I'm sure, you work with a lot of them.
Absolutely.
They wear 100 different hats.
Mm-hmm.
And finances, although things are changing and women are becoming more aware and educated in it, it is still an area that I would say is lacking. So that is one reason I want to give people the tools and resources and education to not find themselves in a situation where they have no idea what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be one reason, and that ties into why I do things specifically for women, is just to educate and empower them when it comes to finances. And so that same year, after getting a divorce, losing a family member, my oldest brother passed away, and it was unexpected.
Sorry to hear that.
Cancer, it unfortunately hits the people that you least expect. So at 34, him being married and having 5 girls.
Wow.
To me, that it just made me step back and think how important planning is, because things happen in life that you don't expect, and they shouldn't happen, but they do. So whether that be a death in the family, a health issue, people actually having the future that they want, and being good stewards of their money and planning properly. So both of those things that happened in the same year they're huge factors in driving me to be better, help more people, because money's not the most important thing in the world, but it's what makes it go round.
Right.
It's freedom and choices.
Mm-hmm. So hearing everything that you've said to this point, it sounds as if what you do is you. Okay. So relate to us a little bit more how this truly fits your core values.
2 things that I was taught growing up were love the people in your family. Relationships are important. They're the most important thing in the world. And never judge, and work very, very hard, and you can accomplish anything that you want in life. So at an early age, a strong work ethic was instilled in me. and the belief that relationships are the most important thing that we have. So that ties into how I operate my business. I work very hard to do the best, the absolute best for my clients. I strive to build a strong relationship, to not only build trust, but have them confident that the plan that we're putting in place is truly the best thing for them and their best interests. So those two things were just instilled in me at a very early age, and I have taken them in every business that I've been in up until this point.
Great. Would you share with us maybe an example or two, say, for instance, of a victory that after you went through the process and things were done? Sometimes we have those victories where we sit down and go, wow, I had no idea that this would come together like this. Have you had that experience?
For me, looking back on the time that I have been in this industry and what I've been able to accomplish, whether that be how fast my business has grown the last couple of years, I think that is one of the biggest things that when I sit back and actually look at what's transpired in such a short time frame, 2.5 years, all of the people that I've been able to help. I mean, when I first came into this industry, I set goals and parameters for myself. So one of the biggest victories, I guess I would say, is accomplishing a goal that I had set that all of the other advisors out of the same office as mine, no one had ever met in the Charlotte office.
Oh, so you exceeded the goal that's ever been made in that office.
Right. No one had achieved it. And
that's super.
So that for me stands out definitely as one that was a huge accomplishment where looking back, I truly feel so blessed to be where I'm at and accomplish what I have in really a short time frame.
Mm-hmm. So are you working to mentor other women, other entrepreneurs? How are you reaching out and connecting with the community with what you're doing?
A few different areas where I reach out. I know you're familiar with some of the events that I host. Every couple months, I host an event for women specifically. It's typically not business-centered, more so bringing wonderful women together to encourage, empower, centered around something fun.
So you have a healthy networking atmosphere is what you're saying?
Yes,
okay.
I do.
I get that.
Host events. I have two other groups of my own. One is just a networking group, and one is a mastermind group. So in those avenues, reaching out, and recently I've started participating and getting involved with two nonprofits in the area. Both have a similar cause. Many people may know that Charlotte's one of the top 10 cities in the country for human trafficking. And both of these organizations are helping victims of it. So that's another area that I'm passionate about and have really tried to do what I can to help get involved, helping them plan fundraising galas coming up here in the next month or so. I'll volunteer at different, I've volunteered at daycares before just because the family unit, it makes me think of my brother and his wife and their girls. So I definitely try to reach out and volunteer, get involved in the community, whether it be from a business side or really just a relationship building as much as I can.
Yeah, the reason I ask that question is oftentimes when people like yourself have great success and my listeners are listening to your story, it can become one-sided. They think you're all about business, you're all about achievement, but I want people to understand there's another side also. There's a side of service. There's a side of causes. And I wanted people to know that about you also. You did say something that rang a bell for me here. You talk about being in a mastermind group. Would you explain to my audience what a mastermind group is and how you benefit from it?
Yes. So a mastermind group is getting individuals together. It's not a large group. It's typically under 5 or 6 people, depending on who you want to incorporate in there, but it is for people that want to grow in a specific area, whether it be in business. All of us are small business owners, so for all of us, it's building and growing our businesses, but just as important, growing personally. I think those go hand in hand. So the purpose of the group that I started was for people that knew that there was benefit in getting help, suggestions, ideas from other individuals. We all think differently. So it is a safe environment for us to not only brainstorm on ideas within each of our businesses, but also grow personally. A lot of people are familiar with the Think and Grow Rich. Mastermind Groups are mentioned in there. Joe Vitale has a book on Mastermind Groups. And I really do see great value in bringing people together who have a common goal in that they, or believe in personal growth along with the business aspect. So we brainstorm. Whether we're having an issue in one of our businesses, we all give our input. Well, have you thought about this? What if you try this? This has worked for me. So it really has produced some great ideas.
That's great. So I'm sure many of my listeners would like to know how they can get in contact with you. How can they do that, Leah?
Multiple avenues. My website gives you a great overview of different things that I provide and how I can help. It literally is www.leahhanrion.com.
And would you spell your name, please?
Yes. First name, Leah. Last name, Hanrion.
Mm-hmm.
So website, email, of course, it is lhanrion at ft.newyorklife.com.
Mm-hmm.
Also social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, profiles on there. So multiple avenues. And of course, phone number 980-417-9818. So would be happy to be a great resource.
Mm-hmm. That's great. What do you see in the future, next 6, 8, 10, 12 months for Leah? What's going on?
Future for me would be on the personal side. I'm engaged, so
congratulations.
Wedding at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel very strongly about these organizations that I'm involved in and would like to further the cause, see how I can make a greater impact. So that for me is top of mind on the personal side. Is I'd really like to get more involved in these two organizations. As far as business goes, I have a few target markets and I would like to become somewhat of I don't want to say household name, but when people hear my name, they associate it with how I help people, what I can do for them.
Cool.
So those would be the top things in the next 6 to 12 months. And, it's exciting. Things change all of the time and there is a lot of growth and meeting amazing people like yourself. You never know what tomorrow will bring. But
this is true.
But I'm very, very excited and feel very blessed.
Super. Well, I want you to know that we're very blessed and excited that you took the time to interview with us today. And we appreciate you being here, okay?
Well, thank you so much, Ed. It is a pleasure to be here with you.
Super. And on behalf of Making Moves in the Marketplace, this is Ed Bracey. Making Moves in the Marketplace is sponsored by Synergy of Empowered Women, and we appreciate this interview today with Leah. Have a good day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us today for Making Moves in the Marketplace. Making Moves in the Marketplace is a production of Synergy of Empowered Women, an organization that provides a platform for donors, volunteers, and advocates committed to helping women achieve their greatest potential. We look forward to our next informative broadcast where we interview social entrepreneurs making moves in the marketplace.